Hi guys, welcome back to another e-learning video. This video will be a review of percent of a number. I'm going to go over both methods. This method will be the decimal and multiply method, and this method will be the fraction and multiply method. So let's start with the decimal and then multiply method. You're going to take your percentage and turn it into a decimal. The way that you turn a percent into a decimal is you do whatever percent number you have and then divide by 100. So we're going to do 25 divided by 100. So if this was like a 7, we would be doing 7 divided by 100. And the reason I'm doing that is because percents are out of 100. So if you got 80% on the test, that means you got 80 out of 100. So we're going to do 25 divided by 100. And then what our answer will be is 0.25. And that's something you just go ahead and type in the calculator. 25 divided by 100. And you get 0.25. So these are the same. These are equivalent. These are equal. 25% equals 0.25 as a decimal. I just did 25 divided by 100, and I got 0.25. And then the other part is you're going to take your decimal answer and you're going to multiply by the other number that you're given. The other number here is 80, so I'm going to take my decimal and multiply by 80, and then we'll see what that equals. I'm going to show you that you can search calculator here, and then, oh, can't forget the decimal, 0.25 times 80, looks like that's 20. So you just type that in there, you find your answer, and that tells you that 25% of 80 is 20. So you take your percentage, divide that number by 100, and you have your decimal, and then you multiply by the other number. And that's just on a calculator, so it should be pretty quick work. I'm going to go over the fraction method now. So this time, we're going to change the percent into a fraction. So let me do that. A percent, again, is out of 100, so writing it as a fraction, it's going to be 20 over 100. That's 20% equals 20 over 100. And that's the reason we divided over here by 100, because if you were to make it a fraction, the bottom would be 100. So you can see right here that it would be 20 divided by 100, top divided by bottom. So we want this percentage to be a fraction for this method. So 20% is 20 over 100, and then times this number again. So we're going to have a problem here though, because if you just write 130, you don't really know exactly what to multiply. You don't know if you do 100 times 130 or 20 times 130 or what you're supposed to do. So you need to change this number into a fraction. You need to make 130 go on the numerator, go on the top, and put a 1 underneath. So 20% is 20 over 100, because it's a percentage, so it's got 100 on the bottom. And then you multiply, take your number, put a 1 underneath it, because 130 over 1 is the same thing as 130. That's interchangeable. They're the exact same thing. They're equal. Then you're going to multiply straight across, because that's how you multiply fractions. When you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So let's multiply our two numerators. 20 times 130. And go ahead and pop up your calculator. 20 times 130. That's 2,600. And then across the bottom, you have 100 times 1. That's 100. And then you don't quite have your final answer yet. So for this method, you change to a decimal, you multiply, and you have your answer. You're done. Change to a decimal by dividing by 100. So 25 divided by 100. Oh, that's my decimal. Multiply by the other number. I'm done. I'm done right there. For this method, you change the percent to a fraction. You multiply by the other number that you put over a 1. So straight across. You have this fraction, but you're not quite done yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this top number divided by the bottom number. So you're going to do 2600 divided by 100. 2600 divided by 100, that's 26. So that equals 26. That means that 20% of 130 is 26. So that's both methods. We have the decimal method where we do the percent. So we do 25 divided by 100. You get your decimal, you multiply by the other number, and you're done. You have the change to a fraction method where you take the percent and say, okay, it's 20%, which is 20 out of 100. And then 130, put over a 1 just to make these line up. And then 20 times 130 is that. 100 times 1 is that. Do 2600 divided by 100. You're just going to take the top number divided by the bottom number, and you're going to have your answer. So that is how you find the percent of a number for both methods.